your position.
Yeah. Wait, on your...
Yeah.
Oh, on your person?
Yeah.
Shall be issued.
It's a different document.
Yeah, different document, yeah.
Okay,
That's
we'll
not your green card.
Good day, everybody. Alien registration is here. What should you do? And we're here to talk about that today. My name is Sam Shihab with the law firm of Shihab Burke, and with me,
Brian Burke from Shihab Burke.
Before we go into the session, we're doing a 30-minute session today. We have a little bit of a schedule. And one smart person in the office said, maybe we should go into 2 30-minute sessions in the week. So we're going to just try this and see how that works. So shorter session today, but we're going to try to pack in it as much as possible.
We'll be back Wednesday, right?
Wednesday, yes.
Yeah.
And you will get notification.
Sure.
So quick overview. The Alien Registration Act was passed in 1940. It was to collect information on aliens in the United States during the Second World War, Brian. This is really what it came. By the 1950s, they stopped enforcing it. These laws stayed on the books from the 1950s until 2024, when President Trump signed an executive order 14159.
2025, but yeah.
In 2025.
Yeah.
What did they say, 2024?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, the rule with 2024, 2025, you say 2024 until you're at the end of 2025, then you get used to it. And then you fix
Exactly.
It. Yeah.
14159, requesting USCIS to enforce the law one more time and register. And back then, they've collected all kinds of personal information. They've collected, and I have it here, name, address, age, date of birth, nationality, employment information, occupation, employer details back in the 1940s. Criminal history, prior records, physical description, height, weight, physical characteristics. Now, that is to be distinguished from the USCIS, Brian, which is a law that passed in 2002 to collect information from individuals from certain countries, largely Muslim countries.
Yeah.
That also was put to bed in 2016. I think it started in 2022. By 2011, they've lost interest and was completely dismantled in 2016. So this law is a 1940 law that got reinitiated this year by our president. And it has a lot of information that they need. Who is required to register, Brian?
Well, rather than recite it from memory, it's basically everyone, I guess, is all foreign nationals are required to register. However, most everybody is already registered. And there's a list of people who are already considered registered. If you're a lawful permanent resident, you're registered. If you were paroled into the United States, even if your parole is expired, you're registered. If you have an I-94, even if that I-94 is expired, you are registered. Any non-citizen issued an immigrant or non-immigrant visa, you are registered. And anyone issued an EAD is registered.
And every person under the age of 14, I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. Everyone under the age of 14 must also register, but the parent must register for them unless they are already registered. But they have to re-register when they turn 14 a second time.
Yeah.
So this is a confusion. People say, well, my kid is under 14, he does not have to re-register. But most of the time, most likely, they are registered already, because if you have a 994, if you have a visa, you've ever had a visa before, you're registered, but you have to re-register the children one more time when they turn 14.
Yeah.
All right, so what else that you want to tell people, Brian, here that they should understand about the alien registration requirement?
Well, if I'm going to really sort of, highlight something important, it's that if you're sitting out there thinking, I don't want to do that, right? You might be willfully choosing to not register, right? And, well, any alien who willfully fails or refuses to apply to register or be fingerprinted can be found guilty of a misdemeanor and can be fined up to $5,000 or be in prison not more than 6 months or both. It's a crime to not register.
Or deported.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, there you go. So the answer, no doubt people are going to, USCIS doesn't explicitly say this, Sam, but what are they going to do with this information?
They have it already.
For the people most of the people in our audience, they do.
The problem is the 10 million undocumented.
Yeah, these are the people I'm most, most of the people in our audience are employment-based immigrants. They're well documented, and probably 99% of them don't have to really kind of do this because everybody is already registered. But it's a scary sort of thing for people who are undocumented. If they're worried about being removed from the United States, they might be undesiring to do this, but it is lawfully required of them, is the bottom line. And as an immigration attorney, I kind of got to say, yes, you have to.
Do you get a registration card if you register?
Well, under the law says you're supposed to get a card, right?
You notice a sheet, a piece of paper that you must carry with you at all times.
Yeah, evidence of your registration. Yeah, so you were so kind as to go back to the law, and the law says, under the provisions of this chapter, this law, everybody shall be issued a certificate of alien registration or an alien registration receipt card in such a form and manner and in such time shall be prescribed under regulations issued by the Attorney General. So basically, you should be getting evidence of this to actually produce. And for the average person, it's going to be, a Visa, an LPR card, something like that. But presumably, if you, for example, are the parent of a child who just reached the age of 14 and had to re-register, presumably you're going to have a copy of that. That's awful for kids, I
don't think they're going to issue cards, and they've never said. I mean, the law says they're going to issue cards, but nobody really confirmed that they're going to issue cards.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, they're supposed to. The law says they're supposed to. Now, case in point, there's a lot of things the law says that are supposed to be done that people ignore. For example, the entire concept of alien registration for about 70 years, right? They weren't. I don't know when they stopped really kind of enforcing it, but
you're right on the money.
Yeah.
If you are legal, I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Sure.
If you are legal, okay, you're registered for the most part.
Yeah, the vast majority of people. Yeah.
If you are illegal, you're not going to register.
Yeah.
You're not going to register.
Yeah.
They're not going to go and give you where they live and their phone number and their height and their eye color and their weight and their father's name and mother's name and how did they enter and what status they're in. They're not going to do that because they're running away from deportation to begin with.
Yeah.
And the punishment is not more than deportation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what really worries. Go ahead.
So why are we doing this? Why is this happening? Why is this executive order, and the name of the executive order, I don't have it here, but to protect Americans from invasion.
Well,
It has the word invasion in it.
Yeah, to make people who don't register criminals. For one thing, I imagine that would be on the motivation list, so you can
misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor, but it's nonetheless, nonetheless, it adds to that narrative that everybody who is here undocumented is a criminal, for one thing, and to get information from people, because if
they have the information, they have all this information.
Well, not from those undocumented. I think
they're not going to register. I'm just going to talk about. I think.
Okay, you're living in a more realistic world than I'm living in. You're right, Sam. I concede the point.
I think it's about creating the environment. Well, I think on two sides. On one side, that's my opinion, just my opinion. On one side, I think it feeds the constituents that he's tough on immigration. He's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Right? So there is that feeding these people really say, yes, high five, they're registering all of them, finally.
Sure.
So there's that.
Aside from the fact that everybody is effectively already registered for all the reasons,
And those who are not registered probably have no intention to register.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And then on the other side, you have the foreign nationals who feel emotionally suffocated, just like there's somebody watching you, somebody's watching you all the time. That feeling of unease, which I think he must enjoy. The president enjoys it, he likes it. Other than that, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, you're right. The people who they want to register so they can find them and then remove them will not be registering. As an immigration attorney, if I encounter them, I have to sort of remind them that yes, they're supposed to and tell them to do it. But yeah.
Do you recommend people to register just in doubt, just in case they're not sure? They just go ahead and do it? What the heck?
Well, if you do, USCIS.
There's some fees involved.
No,
right?
I don't. No, there's no fees. And
Biometrics fees? If they have to take you in for
no,
biometrics?
I don't believe that, because as an aside, I just went through the G325R, the registration form, and just sort of looked through it, and it showed me zero fees.
It showed me 0 fees too, and I did it. But
okay, you went through it as well.
I'm wondering whether some people, maybe there's a fee. I don't know. Depending on how you answer.
So it's in there that they might require biometrics for.
Undocumented, they have to bring in for fingerprints.
Yeah.
They want to charge you $75 or $125.
It's a great way to make money, you know. A fun fact. I mean, the thing that scares me most about biometrics for those who are undocumented is they could have somebody waiting to arrest somebody right there in that scenario when coming for biometrics.
And given the fact that our time is short, we get a couple more minutes to talk about this. We're going to take questions to end at 6:30 today. So bring your question early. For those who joined us late, we're doing a 30-minute session today. We're doing another one on Wednesday for 30 minutes. So bring your questions right now. One person we've neglected is immigrationquestions.us.
You mean immigrationquestions.us, the website that's above our heads right now, Sam Shihab?
Yes, sir. So please drop questions, and if we find the questions interesting, we'll bring it first. And let's go ahead and bring that.
Yeah, I have. There's a
one question that says.
Yeah. What are the risks to filing a mandamus on my own rather than seeking an attorney help? My 485 was initially filed in 2020. My priority date is current since December 2024 in EB1, but USCIS has not taken action on my case. I sent a request to transfer on underlying basis EB2 to EB1, self-sponsored in January 2025. I mean, I guess my first thought on that is, what's a really good attorney for an attorney to help on a mandamus is telling you whether you have a good case to file at the right time. And based upon those facts, somebody whose priority has been current for January, February, March, about 3 months, is that a good time to file a mandamus case, Sam?
Well, that was not his question, but no, it's not.
No, that's the question. Is what are the risks of filing mandamus on my own?
On my own.
Yeah.
What's the risk of filing mandamus on my own?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
But you're asking a good question. Is this a good case?
Yeah.
No, it's not a good case. Now, what are the risks of filing on your own without counsel?
It's complicated. I mean, filing in federal court is complicated. They are nicer to pro se people filing on behalf of yourself, but just to achieve service or to draft a complaint that is legally what's the word I'm looking for? Legally sufficient is a challenge there, and you can I guess the counterpoint is, well, you can probably find a template online. You can probably help get ChatGPT to help you write it up. But
there are very few things I would tell people, don't do this on your own. This is one of them.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are back on the registration, Brian, we got the immigrationquestions.us, the question that got our interest.
Yeah.
Back on the alien registration, if you're in doubt, would you register? There's no penalty for registering, just in case you're in doubt.
Yeah, if you're in lawful status, of course, yeah.
You go ahead and register and get that done. What is there? I mean, do you register on that kid's age turning on their birthday that day? Is there flexibility?
Well, I'm going to have to defer to you because you sound like you have a question locked and loaded. But basically, it's upon reaching age 14, as I recall, for that child.
I would do it within a reasonable time, within 30 days.
Within 30. That sounds familiar. Within 30 days is what they require.
Yeah.
Sam, I doubt I had this many of them in their audience, but there's one sort of very common registration scenario where people aren't going to be registered, and they must. Canadians who enter the United States and don't get an I-94, the good folks at customs just wave them across because they see you holding a Canadian passport. Those people will be in the United States and they won't have an I-94. Those people will have to register if they're going to be in the United States more than 30 days before you reach 30 days in the United States. If you're staying in the United States more than
legal permanent residents.
Legal permanent residents, they shouldn't have to register. They are going to be registered because they're LPRs, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. That's really kind of the one scenario I think that sort of is the most nuanced. So, Sam, I do have some pictures, some slides, some pictures of what this form looks like.
Yeah, we'll give it one more minute, and then we'll go into questions.
Okay, so I figured most people would want to see what the registration form looks like so they can kind of get an idea as to what to expect. And conveniently, Sam and I have both apparently independently said, let's go in there and look at this thing. But I took screenshots.
Now, I was very interested in knowing what in 1940s they were collecting.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, in 1940s, they were collecting the same information.
Pretty much. So
because I was like intrigued by the details of the questions. Yeah.
So forgive my copy and pasting of screenshots into a Word document, but I did this sort of quick and dirty. So if anybody has a My USCIS account, you're probably kind of used to this interface. You tell it what form you want to file, and then it's going to take you to the form. You know, stuff you would expect. Your name, your other names used, but contact information, very standard stuff. Mailing address, normal stuff right here. How long you've lived there, easy stuff. Date of birth, country of birth, you know, where you're from, what nation you're from. Address history, 5-year address history. Looking for that similar to Form I-485 for those of you who have filed. So that's a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. Let's see here. Going on things get more interesting a little bit later on, though. Last arrival in the United States, you know, easy, I-94 information. They should already have that, but, you know, here it is, I-94 number. Expect expiration date of your I-94 number. Here's a kind of a fun one. Since entry, in what activities have you been engaged? Isn't that an open-ended question? Yeah. But it is what it is.
There's some weird questions.
Yeah. What activities do you intend to engage in between now and your expected date of departure?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a broad, that's an essay question is what we call it.
I would say my answer to that one, anything under my current status that allows me to partake and nothing that does not allow me to partake.
Yes, sir, immigration compliance man. Yeah.
Because any other answer gets you in trouble.
Yeah, what is your expected date of departure? And the answer is, I don't know.
Within the law for sure.
Yeah, well, they want a date, you know?
Yeah.
Some things here are easy. A number, USCIS account, fine. Sex, because they sort of changes in policy about what they say, they have some very detailed, questions about that. It's about...
And then criminal questions. Very detailed criminal questions.
Ethnicity, race, height and weight. And let's go to the criminal questions here right quick. These are classic ones that are from, the immigration, kind of like what you see on Form I-485. Have you ever been arrested, cited, charged, permitted to participate in a diversion program? Basically, have you ever been charged with a crime? Criminal stuff. And this is kind of interesting, Sam, and I'll wrap it up on this one. So the people who are usually in our audience, they are employment-based immigrants. And typically, they wouldn't get asked this question until, they'd only get asked this question when applying for a visa or later down the road applying for a green card. If you find yourself in a, and it's funny, when the visa bulletin leaps forward in great leaps, we'll start getting those calls. Hey, I'm Brian, I'm filing my I-45 and, it's time for me to tell you about criminal matter XYZ. Things like this could come up earlier if you're forced to register. That's for sure. Yep. So the rest of this stuff is, again, variations on the criminal questions, really the same criminal questions. And I stopped going there, Sam. Why? Because the rest of it is questions about your family, and that's pretty much it. But they ask about your mom and dad and your spouse and maybe children as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take questions.
Sure. Let's see here. Going back to the top, get those questions in.
And if you can move it to the left, I can see it.
Oh, yes, sir.
That will make my life easier.
There we are.
Are you seeing regular green card approvals now? Are they processing already filed pending cases?
They're always pending.
We always see approvals.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have a chart to say, they're slowing, they're going fast. I mean, they're coming in the office where that's what we do every day. We see them every day. So
anecdotally, I had recently 2 long pending, probably filed in 2020 green cards where both people just said, hey, Brian, good news, green card's approved. And they're still going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. In general, what should the gap between on visitor visa? My parents entered the United States on May 1st, 2024 and left the U.S. in July 2024. Okay. Planning to visit April and stay with us for 2 months. So July now, it's been about 7-8 months. I think there's really no magic answer to that question. The fact that they stayed only 2 months and they've been out for 7-8 months, you know, I think you are entering the zone of comfort, maybe
Yeah.
at the edge of it, not well in the center. I'd say 1 year out of the country is really a good, comfortable time. Less than that, you could be questioned.
Yeah, I usually tell people that, well, it should be looking like you are living outside the United States. You know, if you tell me somebody comes in for 2 months and they're going to come back a month later for 2 months, that's when I start getting issued. But you're right, there's no magical number. And the bottom line is if it looks like you're coming once a year, more or less, obviously this one's a little bit more recent, but somehow I suspect that Morales' parents won't be back for another, you know, better part of it, a year, and
Short period,
and that's, you know, I'm not too worried about that.
Yep. Fine.
Are green card holders entering U.S. with less than 6 months, subject to a lot of questioning? Any experiences you can share? Any advices? So basically, as I recall, Sweet Seller got a green card, and I think the question is, hey, maybe he or she is planning on traveling for the first time. Essentially, what can I expect in terms of questioning?
So entering United States with less than 6 months being outside the U.S.
Yes, yes.
Generally, really, they don't question people too much if you are outside the United States for less than 6 months. But let's assume you stay in the United States 45 days and you do another 5 months out of the U.S. That's when they start questioning you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, change the facts, you get a different answer. If you have pled guilty to a crime, you know, you could have trouble at the border. You know, yeah.
But yeah, so make sure that you have evidence of ownership of your house, you have evidence of ownership of your car insurance, bank account. You can show that, and then that makes them
You're dancing around a topic. It's about.
But the last point I want to make, Brian, sorry,
You're fine.
is first time they talk to you, they are not very aggressive. They would say, okay, we're convinced, or we're giving you a warning, and that's your sign. So the second time, and they will enter that in the record. And then that's your sign that you need to pay attention. Go ahead, Brian.
What you're dancing around is basically the requirement that, you know, they can question your permanent residence at any time. So if you're thinking about if you're living an otherwise normal life and you're living in the United States, the worst they can question that at any time technically. And the answer is you want to show evidence that you have a life in the United States, like a house, a car, a job, things like that are keeping you in this country.
Yep. All right, from Ojas. Is there anything required 2 months before priority date gets current? Last month, EB3 moved 2 months, another 2 months, and few days, my priority date will be current. My medical are valid until end of the year. Medical is valid. Probably they may be requesting a supplement J one more time. There could be an RFE coming in on supplement J. Get that ready.
Yeah.
And then start complaining. The moment you become current, start sending emails and making follow-up and get your attorney to be involved.
If Mohas has been even EB2 previously, if he's for the first time moving down to EB3, you might have to do a transfer on an underlying basis when your priority date becomes current. It's something else to think about. But 2 months out, there's not really much you can do. Just keep an eye on the visa bulletin.
Right. That's a good point. So if he's EB2, make sure that you do a transfer on the line.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Rasu, ready?
My H-1B expired in December 2024, and my current employer filed a timely extension under regular processing. Employer is not allowing for payment. Can employer B transfer and file an extension for me now? Well, your employer 1 knows what he's doing. He's slowing it down so you don't transfer on him. Brian, the risk involved in that scenario.
You're presuming facts, and I think we don't have enough facts because. Oh, no, H-1B expired in December 2024, and you have a pending extension. So basically, okay, can employer B transfer file an extension for me now? Yes, but the question is, what's going to happen to employer A's H-1B? So the short answer is, in order for the employer B transfer to be approved, you need to be in lawful status as of the time it's filing. That requires the pending extension to be filed. And here's the problem you can hit. When you say, employer A, I'm done, peace out, and you join employer B says, cool, file this H-1B.
I'm withdrawing.
Yeah, what's employer A going to do to that H-1B?
H-1B and get you in trouble.
Yeah.
So, I think probably you're in a situation where it's risky to do what you're doing, although it's legally permissible.
Yeah, you basically, that's the problem. Employer A withdraws, you have problems.
All right, Rohit Sharma. Priority date current, again, I-45 transfer from Nebraska to National Visa Center in August of 2022. It's safe to create. Is it safe to create SR? Service ticket, right?
Service request, yeah.
Request. I was told it may delay approval. Is this true? It does not delay approval.
I don't think anybody has that information to a degree of accuracy. I can't really fathom how it would, so I kind of agree.
100%. I don't see a problem with that. I think do a service ticket or request, do a email to your congressman, get your lawyer to write letters, get all the possibility to get their attention so they are looking at your case as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I favor attention versus worrying about bothering them for sure.
Yes. Empire, go ahead, Brian.
I am filing for a student visa, and I am a derivative of my father's F4 immigrant petition. This question: has anybody ever filed an immigrant petition on your behalf with the United States citizenship and immigration service? Given it's my father's immigration service, can I say no to this? Given it's my father's petition that the petition was filed for with USCIS, or cases of the NBC. Not current, waiting to pay the bill, essentially.
No, you cannot say no. So let's go back here.
Wait,
and make sure.
I think I may disagree.
Okay, well, I could remember that. I'm filing for a student visa.
Yeah.
I'm a derivative of
Yeah.
my father's F4 immigrant petition.
Yeah.
So he has a pending petition. Oh, he's a derivative.
Yeah, so it's...
Oh, he's a derivative of his father's.
Yeah, that's a family, family.
So if you're not directly being filed for and you are a derivative beneficiary, meaning that a son of your father and your father is the one who, maybe your sister filed or...
Your aunt would have filed for him, for example.
His sister filed for him, which is your aunt, and you're just a derivative. You're not on the application, you're not on 9130, you absolutely can answer yes.
Yeah.
Good catch, Brian.
Yeah, now it's fun story, Sam. I've heard of somebody having a problem applying for a student visa being the derivative on like an
That's
F4.
stupid.
It is stupid, but it is what it is. You know.
No, you answer no to that question.
Agree. I fully agree with that.
100%. Hello, sir. Any chance, and that's from Shander Kant.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Any chance August 13, EB3 India filing or final action date by allowing by becoming current this fiscal year?
Yeah, I could have swore I kept our copies of the visa bulletin.
August 2013.
But apparently I may have gotten rid of them. Oops. Let's see here. Let me see. I'm looking at the April 2025 visa bulletin, putting it up right in front of us here right now, Sam. And final action dates for employment. And he was EB3, August 2013, EB3 India. I'd say that's quite the reach there. April, May, June, July, August. That's 4 months.
Well, it moves 6 months every year. We're talking. So our guess is probably.
Probably not. But
yeah, it's 50-50 in this case. It's hard to tell.
I wouldn't be flabbergasted if it became current this year, but I wouldn't count on it. I agree with you. Yeah.
All right. Okay,
same question there. Yeah.
Yeah, same question. Umpire again? Am I moving in the wrong direction?
No, you're moving the right direction. This is just part 2 of Umpire's question. Yeah.
All right. So, sounds good.
Yeah.
How many EB3 visa numbers are to be used to adjudicate green card cases this year? Meaning, how many available visa in EB3 this year? Well,
they didn't announce the total availability yet.
Well,
this year,
the basic number is 140,000 times 28%.
Yeah.
And then the per country limitation is 7% per country of that 140,000 times 28%. So you do the math, and then there's a little bit more from the overflow from the family, which has not been announced, which is very interesting.
Yeah, but only a very small amount, I would expect. So yeah.
Let's take the next one. Hi, Brian and Sam. I'm traveling abroad after filing N400. What are the ramifications?
Well, I think we had this question last week, and it's essentially it's a complicated question. But basically, your N400 success is. Part of its success is contingent upon you being in the United States, physically present for half of the statutory period associated with your case. Probably 5 years if you got a green card through employment, right? Meaning you're supposed to be in the United States for 50% of the time, 2.5 years of the last 5 years in order to qualify for citizenship. And if you travel during the pendency of the case and put yourself beyond that, it can cause problems. If you stay out of the United States for a long period of time to cause interruption to your permanent residence while your N4 is pending, that could bring that up as well.
More than 6 months. So if you file this with an attorney, you should be asking your attorney.
Yeah.
But if you have filed this on your own, you need to look at the application and it asks you about, have you been outside the United States for more than 6 months at any given one time? Have you been outside the United States for close to 2.5 years in total in the last 5 years? unless you're filing based on a waiver of 3 years. And if you are very close to these dates, then you have to be careful because you will have a small interview right before you're naturalized to check on that travel. So if you have been substantially in the United States and taking a couple months out of the country every year, not more, your trip outside the country while the N400 is pending for a short period of, let's say, a month or 6 weeks should not impact that application. All right, next one.
Ahmad, when is the travel ban expected to be released?
Well,
it's expected.
I'm not looking forward to it, but it could be released now. It could be.
Yeah,
they don't give us timeline.
I believe they said the president wanted a report within 60 days of the date of the executive order, which was January 20th. Inauguration day.
Anytime now.
Yeah, anytime after that report comes in. I think you already.
There's a follow-up question about his mom. Second one.
Yeah, let me see here.
Yeah.
My mom is, she's a green card holder. Can she get re-entry permit by doing fingerprint and leave B for approval? As I recall, and you don't have to be in the...
Before approval?
Yeah.
Green card holder?
Yeah, she's going for a re-entry permit. Essentially, she's...
Oh, before approval of the re-entry permit.
Yeah. Part of me being good at doing my job is sometimes admitting I don't know the answer to that on top of my head.
You can leave the country while the re-entry permit is pending.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
For
you
your
can.
mom.
You seem more sure than me. So
yes.
there you go.
Yeah, you can leave the country while your mom. Absolutely, she can.
Yeah.
So let's go one more. I think Siha, we missed her.
I think you kind of answered this. Basically, do I need to re-update my application after I travel?
So we're taking 2 more before we end today, and we will come back Wednesday, guys, for more questions.
Yes. So Ahmed Hamad has a good sort of follow-up. Is having sons in the U.S. and exceeding 6 months of green card outside the United States considered a tie to the U.S.? Where are those sons? Are those sons in the United States going to school, waiting for their father to come home, or are they outside the United States?
Well, Ahmed, a tie to the United States is not a single piece of information.
Sure.
A tie to the United States is a painting. You want to paint a picture. How many strokes of color in a painting? That's what you want to think about. Bank account, car, 401k, employment, property, friends, family, children. All these things together paint the picture of me having ties in the U.S. With that, guys, we will take the last one here. Brian, you've been looking for the one that you really want to take.
I think Ahmed Hamad has another question about his case. Shall I make that our last one, or shall I find somebody else?
It's your decision.
Well, I think I'm going to have to come... Sam, I can't decide.
Take it, Brian.
Okay.
In my case, for EB2 national interest waiver, is in embassy, and I'm 38 days away from being current. Does that mean my interview will be waived?
It remains to be seen.
They are not related to each other. They're independent of each other. Thank you guys for listening to us. We will come back Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We'll send